Welcome Tale-tellers to today's special episode. Why is it special? Well, it's special because your tale-teller is a fan of this channel. Fan first, then tale-teller. Jayce York has sent through his story for me to narrate, and I really loved it. So a big thank you for the story, Jayce. Before we jump right in, let's go through some shoutouts. Troy Shaw, you are the constant light that shines in my SoundCloud profile. Seriously, I appreciate all the likes and comments you send my way. Cheers, mate. The Mad Catter. Gotta say, this guy is a catch. I recently did a collaboration with him, and it was a riot. So check out his channel, it's fantastic. Thanks for all the support, by the way, mate. Jayce York, for the support, the story, and even some fan art that I'll be sure to use in my upcoming werewolf episode. Cheers, mate. Shades Cantrell, Tesha Overby, Cassandra J. Cruz, Blady Poo, great name, Sunny Deep, Fatrick Patrick, seriously, that's an amazing name, DJ Gambit, Jessica Terrell, and the Crazy Town podcast. They continue to support this channel with reposts and likes. What champions. Thanks. And I gotta say, thank you to all that listen. If you want in on these shoutouts, I don't ask for much. Some likes, follows, reposts, and shares go a long way, and I thank anyone who does this on this channel, because, you're thanking me for my work. It's that simple. Okay, I know you're all waiting, so turn the lights off, the sound up, and get ready for an original story. The title of this story is I Am War by Jayce York. Hello, my name is, or was, Jayce, but you can call me Grim, a name I gave myself. I had a pretty normal life. I went to school, played video games, and did normal things for an 18-year-old. Aside from one thing. I have a fascination with death. I don't know why, however. I know it was weird, but it paid off in the end. No pun intended. My story began just a few days before my transformation. I was asleep in my room before I woke up to the growl of my stomach. I was starving. I had just eaten dinner a few hours ago, but I was more hungry than I had ever been. I went downstairs and past my art studio on the way to the kitchen when I remembered that I kept a fridge of snacks and sodas in a mini fridge. I turned and practically burst into my studio when suddenly I was met by a man, or what was left of him. He was so bony I didn't think he could even stand. He was so tall, maybe 6 feet 8 inches tall. He wore nothing but a pair of pants that clung to his pelvis for dear life. He slowly walked to me, and that's when I saw his face. His eyes were caved in like they had been retracted. He had almost no hair, just a few patches laid atop his head. He bent down to meet me, eye to eye, and with short breaks between words, he whispered, I am famine. After he said that, he poked my stomach with his index finger, and suddenly, I was being awoken by my alarm telling me to get up. At first, I thought it was a dream. I thought the aching pain of hunger would go away. It didn't. However, it was not nearly as bad as last night. But that night, I woke up to a terrible feeling in my stomach. I wasn't hungry, but I felt like I was going to throw up. I ran into my bathroom and proceeded to do so. When I was finished, I heard a sound in my art studio that had a connecting bathroom with my bedroom. I walked into the room and saw a man. It wasn't the same man, but I got the same feeling from him. He was just as tall as the man who called himself Famine. However, he looked sick, not hungry, just ill. He was wearing a doctor's uniform and what looked like a fedora on his head. He too walked to me and spoke.
I am known as Disease.
He tapped my head with his finger, and again I woke up to my alarm, waking me up. I had a fever, and the worst cold in the history of cold, and the pain in my stomach was still there. As you can guess, I didn't go to school that day. But that night, when I tried to go to sleep, I couldn't. I knew they were real and they had caused this pain. I was so angry, I shot out of bed that night, despite the pain and the sickness, when I heard what sounded like repeating tapping in the other room. When I bursted into that room, I was met by a man who was again as tall as the others, but not nearly as disturbing to look at. In fact, he looked like a politician. He wore a nice suit, his hair was combed and done nicely. He even wore a flag pin. But I didn't recognize the flag at the time. He walked towards me and shouted like an army general,
I am war.
And he punched me in the chest and I blacked out again. But I didn't wake up the next day. I woke up just an hour later to chanting coming from the other room. But I couldn't make it out. I walked into that room one last time to all three men standing side to side chanting, We are famine. We are disease.
We are war.
But we need a fourth. They kept chanting this again and again until I walked into the room, and that is when they paused before shouting their chant even louder. We are famine. We are disease.
We are war.
But we need a fourth. One last time before simply saying,
The fourth shall be death, and death shall be you.
They said this one time before transforming into what I now know to be the three horsemen of the apocalypse. Famine wore what resembled Viking armor. He was no longer skinny but quite built. He wielded a battle axe that was just as tall as he was. His horse, however, was skinny like he was just moments ago. Disease wore no armor but instead wore a black cloak with grey robes underneath. He too looked different, and his features had changed too. He wasn't as built as Famine, but he was still big. He had the longest weapon, a spear. It was taller than he was. His horse was pale and sickly, looking like he once was. War was wearing what looked like samurai armor. I could see his features due to the mask, but I assume he had gone through similar changes. His weapon was a sword, and a long one at that. It was straight and shaped like a katana, and was maybe 5 feet long. His horse donned a simple saddle and a helmet with a single spike.
The fourth shall be death, and death shall be you.
They shouted one more time before the house exploded, and I felt myself slip, so close to the afterlife. But the horsemen had a different plan. Extending their hands and shooting black smoke, they changed my life forever. When the smoke hit, I immediately felt the changes, and it was not pleasant. I felt my bones break, rearrange and extend. I felt my skin decay, and I felt my eyes change. When the smoke cleared, I was wearing black knight armor drawing a scythe. I was atop my horse, who was nothing but bones and armor. I knew what we had to do. We set off in different directions, bringing chaos to this world. You should know, this barren world was our doing. That famine, followed by the plague, followed by the nuclear war that killed just about everyone. Except for a few. The monsters that came afterwards was my doing. The look on your face when the horrible creature you know as the dragon came from hell itself. I know him as Master, and soon you will too. Or you would have, if I hadn't pinned your decapitated head to that tree. But to this day, I don't know why they chose to appear in my art room.
Maybe it was all the pictures of my victims hanging on the wall. Being death has its perks. Now I can continue my art without fear.
What an awesome story, Jayce. A great ending with a neat little twist. Stories like these are what keep creative minds ticking, and for me, I really enjoyed it. And this story is definitely a keeper. Cheers, Jayce, for that awesome tale, and I hope to hear more from you in the future. Don't stop. You have some real talent, buddy. Just like Jayce, feel free to send through your stories straight to my email address, StoriesFablesGhostlyTales@gmail.com. Yep, it's really that easy. Also, if you get a chance, take a second to click that like button Share it around and repost it if you're feeling generous. For all those on iTunes or other platforms, giving us ratings helps me out immensely and supports the growth of this channel. So I only have you fans to thank, because it's you guys and gals that are keeping this going. Not to mention, spreading creative content like Jayce York's work is my passion. And with your help, we can get these stories to everybody's ears. And on that note, tale-tellers, this is the place where stories live and you tale-tellers come to listen. Enjoy your day or night and join me every weekday for our creepy tradition. And as always, till next time.